Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. And this is Dr. Joe Sallustio back with another episode, and we're giving my guest co-host, Douglas Carlson, head of partnerships at LeadSquared, a little taste of what it's like to do podcast after podcast after podcast here live. Douglas, how you feeling today?
Oh, this is fun. I'm having a really
good time. You having a good time?
Yeah.
Needing another cup of coffee yet?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Probably, and you will need one. If you don't need one now, you're going to need one after lunch when you get that food hitting your belly. It's going to be like, oh, goodness, we got to talk all day long. It'll really get you tonight when you have to go to dinner and talk to a bunch of people. You're going to go, I don't want to talk right now. My wife always says to me after I podcast, she's like, let's talk. I go, no, I don't want to talk. I've talked to everybody, including Douglas Carlson. There he is. Anyway, we've got another great guest in front of us today as we continue to talk about amazing work being done for partners in and around college, career college education. And we've got a great person. Let's get him in right now. Let's see this one. We haven't used this one today, have we? I couldn't find the button. Pump it up. He's Shiroy Aspandiar. He's co-founder and COO at Dreambound. What's up, Shiroy? How are you?
Great. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. And sorry for the pause there. I'm a little off my game right now as we get closer to lunch. But this is the second time we've had somebody from Dreambound on. Had your co-founder and CEO, I think, on Athena.
Yeah.
She was great, and we met her at a conference actually, just very similar to this. And so,
that's right.
Tell us again about Dreambound. What do you guys do? How do you do it?
Yeah, Dreambound's a search engine for adult learners to find career and vocational training opportunities, everything from business, technology, allied health, and the industrial trades. We help them find the right fit training program for them.
Is the thought that students don't get exposed to as many program options as they should, and so being able to display the number of colleges that helps them become more aware and better buyers?
I think that's a huge part of it. First, we actually just started doing it manually. We were helping people connect with allied health training, and we found that people needed very different things, and if they went online, it was quite hard for them to find the right fit training. Some needed something that was with a flexible schedule because they worked full-time. Others definitely did not want something that was online because they could only learn in person. Others needed financial aid. Some wanted an accelerated program. So pretty quickly we found that if you couldn't find a good website that would allow you to really browse and filter and find detailed information, you were most often not finding the right program for you, and that's why we built Dreambound.
Where did the idea come from? Whose idea was this? You and Athena sitting around going, hey, let's start a search engine website where we can display higher education opportunities. What does this look like? Where were you when this happened?
Yeah.
What were you eating? Give us the whole.
It's actually starting, it was originally Athena's idea. We met at a coffee shop in San Francisco. She said that she wanted to help more Americans find career and vocational training that we needed to help close our skilled labor gap in the country. And we began to kind of look at the problem from everything from helping a person find a program all the way to getting a job. And then we decided to really focus on helping people find and discover the right program.
Amazing.
Douglas.
So this is obviously a two-sided marketplace. So I think you've done a really great job, and I'm just peeking at your website here, which is fun. Being able to display that and do the kind of the search side for students. Tell us about the other side of the marketplace. How do you go out and do you vet programs? How do you think about that? How do you think about educational partners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first, we look for schools that are accredited or are on the WEO database or state approved to be able to offer the proper credential and training. And then for students, we've done so much work with SEO and organic content, helping them to, choose between maybe a surgical tech program or a medical assistant program. A lot of people, they know that they want to maybe enter the healthcare industry, but they don't know where to start, and they don't know the difference and nuances between programs. So we help generate a lot of content that helps them, ultimately discover what's good for them.
Interesting. And how do you then approach educational institutions, and you just kind of, you have a sense of do you already have a sense of what programs you want in your database, or is it more of a discovery conversation? What's that look like?
Yeah, we try to be pretty selective because we want to make sure that whatever's on our platform will help you get an in-demand job quickly.
Got it.
So we have about 85 or so different programs, and it's growing, but we want to make sure that we're curating it carefully. Like, you won't find a liberal arts program on Dreambound.
Yeah.
There won't be like an English certificate
So
program
the job piece is important. It's the most important criteria. Like if we put this up here, it has to result in some kind of employment.
I think that's what the consumers are looking for. More and more, they're looking for opportunities that will result in a given job at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I'm kind of thinking through the full piece. So it's obviously you have the student, you have the matching engine, you have the selected educational institutions, but you also are really reflecting the actual job market and what's there. How do you get the information? What information are you looking at to make the decisions on? Oh, we should really be promoting surge tech or veterinary tech or cosmetology, whatever the right piece is. How do you go about looking at that data or finding that data?
Yeah, I think that BLS data is an important component of that.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're also just listening to employers and schools for what they're seeing from student demand. And then also, just because we have this search engine component, we're able to look in real time and seeing what students are searching for and what they're excited about.
What are they excited about?
Yeah.
What are they searching for?
Yeah, so I think
it's
some things that really surprised me were like sterile processing technician training. Like I hadn't even heard of it, and people were searching for it. Medical assistant's pretty popular on our platform. Medical billing and coding as well. Pharmacy technician, cybersecurity, data analytics, UI UX design. Those are some of the more popular programs.
Do you notice any fluctuations in degree versus non-degree lately? What's got more juice right now?
Well, we really started focusing on non-degree programs, so certificate and diploma programs. We think that trend is continuing in our country for sure. If you look at Gen Z, there's so many articles right now about how they're really questioning if the 4-year option is the right option for them. They're looking for something that's shorter, that has less risk, less financial cost. So I think that directionally the country is moving in more of the non-degree certificate programs.
So is it part of the business model here? You're casting as wide a net as possible. You're marketing Dreambound to anybody who's looking for higher education, and then you're passing on that lead to the institution at a cost. Is that can you talk about that model?
Yeah, I think one caveat would be that we're actually more focused on the adult learner primarily. We find that they have the most need, and they might be re-entering the workforce or looking to level up from retail. So that's who we mostly are supporting and serving. And then, yes, we work with schools on usually a per inquiry or per lead basis to help drive enrollments.
How's the demand for that right now? Because schools, they fluctuate. Some are looking at. There's always been companies that have existed. I think you're doing it a lot better, but to complement some of those organic efforts that the school is going through to help them round out a class or build enrollment in a particular program that might be hurting. Do you see demand up, down? What's your growth path look like?
We see school demand it's actually been quite easy for us to be able to grow and scale. I think if you're doing things the right way, if you have strong organic traffic, if you're not trying to make life difficult for both the student and the school by trying to sell that inquiry multiple different times, which we do not do.
Yeah.
It's actually quite easy to be able to partner with a lot of institutions. They're looking for a great platform like Dreambound. And yeah, we've been able to grow through conferences like CQ and Inside CDU that Athena was at. Yeah, so
that's
we're seeing
awesome.
demand to be there.
Amazing.
Lastly, I think too, if you do this well, marketing can be a great revenue driver for the school at the end of the day. I think that sometimes schools are a little bit reluctant to invest into marketing efforts, but if it pays off and it's cost effective, you can really turbocharge your growth.
And I was thinking a little bit about where these students might be, and obviously the power of online is, even if it's a U.S.-based institution, you can be anywhere in the world. Do you have any data or any sense for location of students? Have you taken a geographic strategy at all, or is it just the net pretty wide open?
It's very wide open throughout the United States.
Okay.
We're not doing too much yet to attract international audiences. I know that some schools are interested in that.
Sure.
That's coming for us, but we've really focused on casting a huge wide net nationwide. We, of course, do drive more traffic in some of the larger states.
Sure.
But yeah, we have students from all over the country that are finding Dreambound.
One of the things I like about what you guys are doing is you're putting exam prep information up on some of these programs. Like there is an exam, there is a state license, there isn't. You have to get a certificate. Here's how many hours you need. You're really providing detailed program information that is sometimes hard to find on a college website, right? And if you have to look it up 10 times or 12 times, if you're looking at 10, 12 different schools, which a lot of students are looking at multiple schools, how do you keep track of it? How do you keep it where it is? when you think about what, maybe the better question is, how do you decide what information to display? Is it right? Because there is so much information. Question. You know, the way the class schedules are, the calendars, how do you decide what to display and what not to display?
We've tried really hard to think critically about what are the decision drivers that would help somebody, ultimately land in the right training program. And we found that duration is hugely important, information about cost, the learning modality, and then ultimately, what is it going to take for me to be able to land this job? So that's where the certification and examination components come in as well. So we've really tried to structure around like what we think they'll need to absolutely know, so that once they connect with the admissions officer, they're like halfway informed already.
And who are you serving primarily with your institution? So nonprofits, for-profits, career colleges, publics?
Everything.
I mean, give us from
the proprietary schools to large online learning providers to your accredited nonprofit organizations as well. It's truly a wide net. We also work with coding boot camps too. Yeah.
Do you find that? And sorry, Douglas.
No, you're on a roll. Keep going.
Do you find that when there has to be some kind of vetting process, right? I would imagine for you to list a school.
Yes.
Do they have to have multiple start dates, or do they have to have some kind of, what is the criteria to say, this institution is set up on a traditional calendar and they don't have an infrastructure to serve an adult student? If we add them to the platform, it actually hurts Dreambound's, right? It's going to hurt because the student's going to pick that school and they're not going to get served, and then the student's going to come back to Dreambound and say, you didn't give me what I want, So what's that vetting process, and how do you think about who to add?
Great question. Again, first, there needs to be either on like the state or national database for the accredited program. That's a big part. But for some schools, like we do have a few schools where they just have a few start dates throughout the year. They're still able to do very well on Dreambound too. For most of those programs, they're a bit more involved. They're lengthier. They're more often like a nonprofit school as well too. So it's not so much like the start date. It's ultimately because the student can browse by if it's an accelerated program, if it will be completed, or if it's an on-demand program online too. So ultimately the student is able to differentiate. So
they're filtering that out.
Yeah, it's almost like I compared it to a website a long time ago called AutoTrader, which had these cool ads where you could, you could almost like visualize different kinds of cars and whatnot. So it's very much filterable, allowing you to find exactly what you need.
And are these specifically online courses, on ground, hybrid? What's the modality?
Yeah, we actually offer, and they can filter by all of those modalities as well: hybrid, online, or in person.
Got it. Is there a school that you would like to work with, or schools you'd like to work with that you're not working with today?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, we're still growing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Many of them are actually here.
That's what I wanted to give you a little shout out if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I don't want to like single out one or the other. I don't want
to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, CEO, listen.
Yeah.
But there are many. I think that conferences like CQ allow us to be able to meet people who really care about career education in the country, obviously. Yeah. We're hoping to be able to meet with quite a few different people here.
Well, there you have it, everybody. We're really excited to have you here and talk about Dreambound for a second time, Shiroy. As we exit, we always want to ask, and Douglas, he makes me ask now. No, he doesn't do that. But we want to know what you see for the future of higher education.
I think we're going to see the four-year college degree model be reinvented. I think that we're already seeing some of it. There are some schools that are moving to an accelerated bachelor's program to either 2.5 or 3 years, but I think more so we're going to see an alignment around skills-based competencies and skills-based training. I think that we'll see more people pursuing micro-credentials or stackable credentials, and I think the future of the degree is going to be more piecemeal. People allowed to be, picking up certain credentials that build up into an associate, and that associate can eventually maybe build up into a bachelor's program. So I think stackable, more non-degree programs, shorter programs, I think are the way.
Well said. And one person that has the skills right now to pay the bills is my guest co-host, Douglas Carlson, head of partnerships at LeadSquared. Douglas, what did you think of this episode?
Oh, this is great. I love what Dreambound does, and I'm really happy we got a chance to pull you in. I know you got a lot going on at the conference, so appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, he's your guest. He's Shiroy Aspandiar, co-founder, COO at Dreambound. Thanks for being here, Shiroy.
Thank you, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.